there comes a time where you must assert your authority, your God-given authority over your life.
Correct.
No one is responsible, or God did not give anybody the responsibility over your life once you cross a certain threshold.
Okay.
They said time is not money. Time is way more precious than money. I chose to not pick up their calls or answer their texts.
Right.
Not that I won't in the future communicate with them, but I decided you are of no value.
Hi there, Actualizers. Welcome to Actualize Center. I am your host, Gloria Njuguna. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. We are so glad you're here. We want to say a quick special thank you to everyone who has subscribed and gotten us to 29.1K. So we really do appreciate you, and thank you so much for choosing to subscribe to our channel. So we are here, and I am privileged to introduce our amazing CEO and founder, of course, and the visionary of this center, Dr. C.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. As always, I
Yes.
love to come and do this show and get the question of the day.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So our question for today, or title for today,
All right.
is boundaries.
Ooh, boundaries.
Setting boundaries, yes.
Setting boundaries. And specifically where?
Now that's what we're going to get into it.
All right. So, boundaries.
Yes.
When I think of the word boundary, I think of demarcations.
Okay.
Lines of demarcation. And so the idea of a boundary puts into one's mind that there's going to be a separation between two entities or two places.
Yes.
So I guess we're talking about the separation of two different entities or places.
Definitely.
Yes.
So question number one for you. What are the benefits of setting healthy boundaries in personal and professional relationships?
Well, the benefit is that you're able to know how to rank personal responsibility and personal intimacy.
Okay.
And so when you don't have clear lines of boundaries, you will be overexcited. You'll be overcommitted in places you're not supposed to.
Yeah, for sure.
And to people you're not supposed to. So first, boundaries help you mitigate the amount of energy spent in the wrong places.
Okay.
So the things that are more important get more of your higher rank than others. Number two, we all have intimacy, right? And so when it comes to intimacy, you have different levels of intimacy you have with people. So you know how much to give of yourself emotionally, heart-wise, and things based on also the ranking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's what I would say.
Okay, cool.
All right.
So how do you identify and communicate your limits with others? You did mention that in your previous answer.
Yeah.
So how do you identify and communicate your limits to others?
All right. First of all, and this is something that you have to learn with time or learn through a coach.
Right.
Which is, boundaries are not drawn. It's harder to draw boundaries when you have a whole bunch of squatters.
Okay.
Let me explain.
Okay.
What I mean is, you have land, right? Let's say, I want you to take you to a place. Visualize you have a piece of land, right? And you're supposed to use that land in different ways.
Yeah.
And so, if you have a whole bunch of people on the land, prior to dividing the land, it becomes very difficult to later go and divide the land. Because everybody feels like they own a part of you.
Yeah.
Because you did not set the clear guidelines.
Correct.
So the first thing I believe you're supposed to do is pre-create boundary lines.
Okay.
That's something you learn over time.
Correct.
And something, or if you are trained, that can help you.
Yes.
So now you draw, okay, this is my family boundary. This is my friend's boundary. This is my nuclear family boundary. This is my extended family boundary. This is my work boundary. This is my, because even at work, you can have close colleagues than others, right?
Yes.
And so by creating those boundary lines, you can now therefore put in the expectation.
Okay.
So somebody who is in the close friend circle, you will give them greater appeasement of your time and your diary. While somebody else, they'll come and say, hey, I want to come and visit you and so day. Or, hey, no. I'll get back to you.
Correct.
So why? Because you have, and this is something we all have to practice and learn over and over again until we learn it properly, which is you look at what somebody is also inputting in you and who you've been called to, and that's how you navigate. This is something that I've been training and learning, is to tell to people, wait.
Okay.
I'll get back to you.
Correct. And
that happens based on what? Where they are in the ranking. So everybody has to wait. Okay? I don't need to make it like an office, right? Because you live your daily life.
Correct.
But the funny thing is, other people are already doing it to you. Just because you're not doing doesn't mean people are not doing it to you.
Yeah.
Because you say, hey, can I see you? They say, wait, right? I'll see you next week.
Correct.
But if a close friend of theirs says, I need to see you, they'll say, come over right now.
Exactly.
So it's all about that. It's all about learning. It's all about navigating. It takes a lifetime for most people to cram it.
Yeah.
But it's something that if you have a great coach, they can help you remember. Okay, you remember. As I always like to say, what is the order of importance?
Yeah, what comes as priority?
What is priority? Right? And so boundaries helps us to know priorities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about the people who are people pleasers, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard for them to say no or even to set those boundaries because of prior experiences of hurting people. Like whenever you set a boundary, you end up hurting the person who's receiving the boundary.
Okay.
And as a people pleaser person, it's very hard. I'm speaking from experience here. It's very hard to say no. It's very hard to, and I think part of it too is kind of like how you were raised. I'm a firstborn in my family, so it's hard for me to say no to like an authority over me, or even sometimes even friends. So of course, with time, as time has gone by, God has given me a boldness to be able to say no. But what about those people who till today, they still struggle with that? They don't have a coach, they don't have a mentor to be able to strengthen that bone to say no. How can you advise, or what advice can you give to those people who it's very hard for them to set boundaries? Yeah.
Number one, watch Actualize.
Of course.
Subscribe. Follow. I mean, the thing is, sometimes people complain about dysfunction in their lives, but they don't actually want a solution.
True. It's true.
Like, you don't need to have a personal coach. You can click on a coach these days, right? We are in a digital age, an AI age. You can get the question is, do you actually love to be wanted?
Exactly.
What is the fear? Because it's not really them. Okay. It's what are you fearing about? You reach a point where people no longer want you. Like, are you going to stop needing me?
Correct.
So you have to know, sometimes we don't draw boundaries because of the fear of missing out.
Correct.
Of not being wanted. So now you're like, does it make sense now?
It does.
So you gotta go to the root of why you can't make a boundary. It's not that it's hard because, oh man, I'm just created to not make a boundary, but there's a thing behind that. Like, oh my goodness, I'll miss out on opportunity.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to overcome, or you have to go for the root cause.
Yes.
Because the root cause is what is causing the boundary problem. So I would say, for you who's struggling with boundary issues, it's because there's something that is causing anxiety and fear. And you are thinking that if I draw this boundary, then this person will get out of my life.
Correct.
Then I will lose this relationship. Then I will lose this.
Yeah.
And if that thing is controlling you, especially if it's a bad person, they'll use that to manipulate you.
Yeah, it's true.
That thing will become a stronghold in your life.
It's true.
It doesn't matter if even if it's church. It doesn't matter if it's church. It doesn't matter if it's a best friend. It doesn't matter what it is.
Right.
If something is giving you the fear of not placing a boundary, then you have actually a problem.
It's true.
Right? And so boundaries are healthy. Fences make good neighbors.
It sure does.
All right? So
That's a good one.
so I will say everybody needs a boundary. Everybody needs their space.
Yeah.
And if you're, and that's what I'm saying, it takes time. It takes time. You give yourself grace.
Yeah.
You give yourself more grace.
Exactly.
Eventually, you will learn that it is okay to be alone in your boundaries instead of being in the midst of dysfunction.
It's true. Yeah. So this question, I was kind of having a hard time to see if I wanted to ask it. But
Okay.
So how do you set boundaries with difficult or toxic people?
The fact that you have to ask that question means that that person is a squatter inside of your land.
I don't know why I knew you were going to say that.
No. Yeah, because the only place where you can get a question to yourself is because there's a person who recently, I didn't block on the phone, but I chose to not pick up their calls or answer their texts.
Right.
Not that I won't in the future communicate with them, but I decided you are of no value.
Especially if they do drain you.
You're of no value. You're not adding to me. I'm not adding to you. You're wasting my energy. In life, time is so precious.
It really is. Yeah.
People like to say, I like what person said. They said, time is not money. Time is way more precious than money. You can go broke and come back.
Right. But you can't recover time.
You can recover time.
Yeah. It's true.
And you know what else is very precious? Peace. And grace.
That's true.
And so my advice is you gotta switch off and go through the pain.
Yeah.
Anytime, let me tell you, it doesn't matter what it is. It can even be a show. You can be a show you're attached to. No, you can be attached to a negative show that causes you to behave negatively.
Yeah.
And when you cut off a show, you will still feel that emotional
like I can't believe I have 7 other seasons to go.
Yeah, and I gotta let go of this show, and I'm just using something light because I'm trying to move away from the relationship thing. But it can be a show. It can be anything that is bringing toxic. See, if you don't have boundaries and you watch whatever you want, boundaries are not about just man to man.
Yeah.
Boundaries are about shows. Boundaries are about what you eat.
Yeah.
Boundaries are about how you eat. Boundaries are about, I was talking to somebody in school and they were talking about, it's hard for me to, I said, go buy a smaller plate.
Yeah.
Because you can't draw a boundary. Clearly, you cannot control what you eat, but you can control the amount you eat.
Exactly.
So the fact that there's so many things in our lives that require boundaries. Now you open your mind, you're like, wait a minute. Yeah. Boundaries are not only about relationships. If I'm dysfunctional in one area, I can be dysfunctional in so many different areas.
It's true.
So it's a life practice. Yeah. It's a daily practice. And so you start developing this ability of saying, I'm putting a boundary here, I'm putting a boundary here, I'm putting a boundary here. Eventually, you will be a person who's gotten used to boundaries.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes you gotta learn that, like, hey, I'd rather move away from something than win in dysfunction and just live a life of dysfunction.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So what role does assertiveness play in setting effective boundaries? Yeah, that's a PhD question.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Or good job, rather.
Yes.
Assertiveness is not easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy for anyone.
Yeah.
But in life, you have to reach a point. Sometimes people don't want to change.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that you're going to have to learn in life, whether it is with family,
mm-hmm.
friends, fellowships, whatever it is, there comes a time where you must assert your authority, your God-given authority
mm-hmm.
over your life.
Correct.
No one is responsible, or God did not give anybody the responsibility over your life
mm-hmm.
once you cross a certain threshold.
Okay. That's true.
In the modern day, we say 18 years of age,
mm-hmm.
but used to be at 13, 12, 13. That's when you became a man.
Wow. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So by the time you're 12, 13 years of age, you're supposed to be responsible for the actions that occur in your life. And some people say, well, that's too young. No. If you mess up high school, you mess up college.
Yeah.
When you mess up college, you mess up the future. You see, that's when responsibilities, people act like, oh, you can you can make, but for that one guy who made it, how many people didn't make it?
Yeah.
So when it comes to taking responsibility and being assertive, you gotta teach that to your children
mm-hmm.
before 13.
That's true.
If they can't, most of our problems came because we didn't learn these things early enough, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta be assertive from the time you're 12, 13. You gotta know where you draw the boundaries of life.
Yeah.
So that when you turn 20, you know how to draw the boundaries of your situations.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time you're 30, you are straight and you know what to do with the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to learn.
Of course.
But
it takes time.
It takes time. But
mm-hmm.
what I mean is, think about if you began to be... So some of these things we need to culture, like, hey, no.
Yeah.
You don't eat that at this time. And if
mm-hmm.
somebody offers you this, you say no.
Mm-hmm.
You're teaching assertiveness. It's
yeah.
something that you culture and you train.
Right.
And so assertiveness is very important. And for the person who did not learn it when they were young,
yeah.
you can still begin to develop yourself and your children or those young people around you on how to say yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, it really, the first times you do it, you'll feel very unnatural.
Mm-hmm.
You'll feel like a bully maybe.
Mm-hmm.
You will feel bad.
Yeah.
But people get used to, you'll just get used to like, no, I'm not available. No, I cannot do that.
Yeah.
No, I no longer do that.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, okay.
Yeah. They'll adjust.
They'll adjust.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I don't care who it is. They will adjust.
They'll adjust, yeah.
But you have to be okay with letting go of the egotistical people who will refuse your development.
That's true.
Do not short circuit your development to hypen or to hold up the ego of a person.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we'll end it there. All
right.
Those were my last questions. Well, that was my last question.
Yes.
Thank you so much for teaching us on that.
Yes.
And then, expanding our minds.
Mm-hmm.
So we really appreciate that. Thank you once again for clicking on our video, liking our video, commenting, sharing, and definitely subscribing. We really do appreciate each and every one of you. Anything else, Dr. C?
Well, keep actualizing and be blessed.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Welcome to Actualize Talks, your destination for purpose discovery, setting vision goals, and fostering leadership growth.
I'm joined in studio by Dr. Casper. Dr. Casper.
Joining me now in the studio, we have Dr. Casper.